Welcome to my channel.
So much pain to start the year. Hi everyone. First off, I am 31, male, live in Australia, and have been married for 6 years. My STBX is 36 and we have a 3-year-old son. For the past week my STBX has been really distant, and it got me thinking that something was wrong. Fast forward to today and I just couldn't take it any longer. I asked her if she was alright, and from there came the conversation that she still loves me but is no longer in love with me. When I asked her, she confirmed that there is someone that she is talking to. She told me that she felt horrible as she saw that I was making an effort, but she just couldn't lie to herself or me any longer. Against my better judgment, I was able to sneak a peek into her phone and saw that her and the son of a mutual friend of ours have been talking ever since he came to visit with his mom a few months ago. While he was here, they were apparently getting physical behind my back. I scrolled through and saw they are constantly telling each other they love each other and were having phone time and chatting about how they can't wait to finally be together. I did see that she conveyed to him that she felt horrible for doing this to me, but her heart can't go on any longer. For a bit of backstory, my STBX and I have been growing apart for some time now. Our time life had dwindled down to once every few months, and after her father died earlier this year we have had time only once. I wasn't romantic, I took her for granted, and I know that I am partly to blame for her seeking out the attention of someone. She tried to tell me that she feels like she is mostly to blame as she didn't give me enough while I was making an effort, but I honestly don't know what to think. She said that she is past the point of counseling. She doesn't feel like she can be taught to love when she feels we are just so incompatible. To be fair, our personalities are very polar opposite at times. While she is an assertive, intelligent woman, I can be tolerant and passive and somewhat intelligent. I have also struggled with an addiction to pornography that I have recently attempted to give up as I knew it was affecting my marriage, but it's obviously a little too late. She was not aware of this struggle. I feel so numb right now. I don't know if I should be super angry right now or what. The kicker is that the guy she is talking to stayed with us a few months back and he will be coming again in February. My STBX had asked me if I was cool with it. He is 22 and finishing up college and was apparently in love with the local area, so he wanted to visit again to see more. He gives her everything I am not giving to her. Constant affirmations of love, spontaneity, and he stimulates her mind. From the messages I suspect that he might be coming to stay indefinitely with her. I feel betrayed as I let him into my home and trusted him to spend time with my STBX. I even okayed a day trip to another town as he was leaving soon and was looking to visit a town nearby. Little did I know he was flirting with her and potentially slept with her. I am so disgusted right now as I type this, it seems to all be hitting me. My main concern is my son. I loathe the idea of him being raised by another man. My STBX is adamant that she wants me in her life, and that my relationship with my son will not be impacted. I believe her in that sense. However, all I can think about is my son and how he will not get to live with a family and has become a statistic. I honestly needed to vent more than anything right now. There is so much to figure out now. We own a house, so we'll have to figure out what to do with it. There's also my living arrangements. My STBX should be fine seeing as she can stay with my mother-in-law indefinitely. She has assured me that she will make sure I am looked after. You see, I am originally from the US but we live in Australia. I have no family here and relocated to be with her. Funny how life works sometimes, isn't it? We were looking at relocating to another state this year, so that is up in the air now. My life is upside down right now. I don't know which way is up and I am being consumed by these emotions. Hell of a way to start the new year. Grateful for any advice that can be shared, and thank you for reading this post. I can tell this is going to be a rough road. Hi all, some of you have read my story, but for those who don't know, my STBX had an affair and I just found out about it 4 days ago. She initially didn't give me all the details, but yesterday I confronted her with what I knew and she admitted to everything. Some things I thought happened were not the way they seemed, but regardless she did what she did and here we are. We talked out a lot of things and ultimately, I got what I needed out of it. Thankfully, she isn't being vindictive and is showing me that she wants to work together to get a good outcome that will benefit us and our son. Can't really ask for more than that in my case. I am, however, preparing for the worst and hoping for the best. Have gotten legal advice and have made an appointment to start the mandatory mediation process to get a parental agreement sorted. Where I live, you have to have mediation before you can go through courts to prevent unnecessary burden on the courts. Getting my bank accounts all sorted and I'm ready to act at a moment if things go south. As of right now, I don't have any reason to think they will, but I am ready just in case. After the conversation yesterday, I was feeling much better today. At work, I was talking to colleagues and generally in an okay mood. However, today I have had non-stop occurrences of what I think is the bargaining stage of the grief process. I caught myself throughout the day thinking back to all the things that I could have done to potentially be a better husband. Things like buying her flowers, haven't bought her flowers in years, packing a picnic just for the two of us and go to the park and relax, etc. Granted, she has not been making much of an effort herself as of late. However, it doesn't stop the thoughts from coming into my mind. Then there is the thoughts of my wife with another man. Vivid images that, unfortunately, are burned into my imagination as I couldn't help myself and snooped through her texts. It's true what they say, that if you go looking for something you just might find it. I got my truth, but in the process, I think I have done more damage to myself. So yay, it's tough right now and it's only day 4. I have been either okay, bargaining with myself, or in a depressed mood, going back and forth between those 3 emotions all day. I was in a good place today for the most part, but towards the end of the day it has been very hard. As much as she has hurt me, as much as she has betrayed me, I go back and forth between wanting to not see her at all, to wanting nothing more than to turn back the clock and be the husband that I wasn't to her, hold her in my arms, and have things be back to how they were. I realize that at this stage I am idealizing the relationship, and have to remind myself of all the issues we had, and for a brief second it hardens my resolve to move on. But I guess it's a tall task to ask myself to easily give up the feelings I have had for someone I cared and loved for almost a decade. Because we have a son, I am doing all I can to spend as much time with him as I can right now before parenting arrangements change. Unfortunately, it means that I see my wife, so it makes it a bit hard for me at the stage I am in. As of now, I am getting through it, but we'll reassess the situation if it gets to be too much. Anyway, thanks for reading. Taking it a day at a time over here. We'll get through it all. Frustrated by the insanity of it all. Rant. Posting this as it has been a wrought week and I need to vent to someone, but I know that most of the friends and family I have probably don't want another earful of how much this all sucks. You guys get it, though, so here I go. Some of you know my story. STBXW36 yo had an affair and left me 32 yo for her AP 22 yo that she has known for only a few months. Since D-Day on New Year's Day, I've been making efforts to really work on myself. Have lost over 20 pounds, have been learning to cook, have tried new activities like running and rock climbing, and reconnected with friends. Also have been making sure that my son is a priority and spending quality time with him. Due to financial reasons, we are still living together with our son for the next few months. So far cohabitation has been tolerable. Some days better than others, but I can't help but feel frustrated by her insanity at the moment. I want nothing more than to grab her, shake her, and tell her to snap out of it. Her and her AP are convinced they are head over heels in love with each other. I know for a fact that they have already been talking about marriage. How they can't wait to spend the rest of their lives together and how they are each other's everything. It boggles my mind. We didn't talk about marriage until well over a year of dating. I would laugh if it wasn't such a tragedy. If this was someone else, she would laugh and say they were crazy. I know it is the fog, and right now her brain is being doused with chemicals that are making this guy seem like the second coming, but it is insanity nonetheless. If she could have her way, I know she would want me to just be her friend and pretend like nothing happened, but I can't. I wish I could file right now for divorce but have to wait a year, and right now moving out is not ideal financially as we have decided to still go forward with our plans to move interstate later this year, with both of us getting separate residences and sharing custody of our son. So right now she is in a place where she doesn't have to suffer any consequences at the moment. She has her AP, and goes out to dinner with him and spends time at his place, and then comes home to me and our son and gets to pretend to play house. I have implemented the 180 and it helps me, I think, but I know that part of it all is that she is yet to really feel any consequence. Financially she is still afloat as I am contributing to household expenses, and have no problem with that seeing as I live here and for my son. But I know that her AP doesn't have job prospects aside from retail jobs. Pretty sure that when we move she will struggle financially to support them both, but I guess in her eyes it is love, so she is willing to tough it out and hope for the best. Sorry if I am all over the place here. This is honestly one of the most frustrating experiences of my life. This week has been hard. Hardly got anything done reading posts here and articles online about all this. I've honestly spent a lot of time here on this sub and have offered help to others, and I love doing it as this is such a hard experience, and I know that having you guys give me wisdom after D-Day helped me tons. However, I feel like this week has been hard, and I am just frustrated with the insanity. How she thinks that some 22-year-old kid can provide her long-term stability and that he is a good person when he had the fatal character flaw of getting involved with a married woman. I know that in all likelihood their affair will fizzle out, but who knows when and if that will happen. Could be in a month, could be years from now. And I know that neither of them is winning, but duck me does it suck with them right now in their little fantasy land. I can't really say I'm angry. I've let go and am moving on, but the insanity of her still being with this guy who has never been in a serious relationship before but is somehow ready for marriage is driving me up the wall. I know I shouldn't care, but I have a 4-year-old that will be around this pos as long as he is in the picture. I just want this to be done so my son doesn't have to be around this pos and she can find someone that might have an ounce of good character that will not be a shitty role model for my son. For now, I'll keep being the sane parent, keep working on myself, and just take it day by day until I am able to get my own place. From there, file for divorce as soon as the year waiting period is up, and move on with the rest of my life. I'll leave it there. Thanks for reading if you made it this far, and if you can offer any sort of wisdom or support I would appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Anger towards the AP rant. Hi everyone. So lately I've been doing pretty well. Been doing my best to spend lots of quality time with my son, been looking after my health, and been overall just trying to work on myself. I've done my best to not let my STBX's relationship with her AP get to me, and overall I've been pretty successful. However, today I went for a walk and as I'm walking I just started feeling this anger well up inside me. I just think of the AP being around my son, and it boils my blood. I have thoughts of hurting him, wanting nothing more than to cause him pain. I know I wouldn't do it really, but I have these images and I know they do me no good. My STBX and the AP are still together, going on 10 months, and it boils my blood. Not because I want to get back with my STBX, but because I want nothing more than for the AP to just go away. I'm weeks away from moving out of our marital home as she will be buying me out. The thought of the AP getting to now live in that house where we started our family just makes me a bit sick. They get to play house finally after months and months of only seeing each other for a few hours a week. Part of me believes that once they live together and have to deal with each other on a daily basis that the fantasy will finally crumble. But then there's a tiny part of me that fears that they will actually defy the odds and make it work. I mean, they were professing their love to each other only mere weeks after meeting one another, never mind the 14-year age difference. Pretty sure he is unemployed and my STBX will be the main breadwinner for the house, which will cause a strain, I can only hope. I want to believe that the absurdity of it all will make it all stop, but I also know that it isn't guaranteed. I feel disappointed in myself for being at this stage. I know better than this. I shouldn't compare myself to the AP, I shouldn't concern myself with what they do. However, no amount of reasoning or logic will make me feel better about the AP being around my son. I can't describe what it feels like when my son accidentally calls me by the AP's name. That's how I know the AP spent the day around my kid, unfortunately. It's all a bit much and, again, I know better. But feelings are going to be what they are going to be. I am hoping that in a few weeks when she buys me out and I get my own place that some of these feelings will subside. I never thought I would be going on a year living in the same roof as the woman who betrayed me, and immediately began a relationship with the AP. Time will tell what this experience has done to me, but for now all I can do is just bide my time. Thinking I might go see my therapist sometime soon, just to let some of this stuff out and get some help with it. I thought I was in a better place, but I'm starting to wonder if I've just done a really good job with masking my feelings and fooling myself. If you got this far, thanks for reading. The last thing I want to do is burden my friends and family with this stuff when they will just be sympathetic but not truly understand where I'm coming from. Any support advice is welcome and appreciated. Thanks. Rant. This taints everything, really. So I'm finally at the stage where I'm getting ready to move out of our house. Been doing in-house separation for the past 10 months and it has been a challenge. We don't fight, that's not it, but seeing her every day has been a struggle with her continuing to see the AP. So I'm apartment hunting right now and find a great apartment, really good rent for this area, immaculate condition, great views, private garden. Really ticks all the boxes. But there's a big problem with it. I can literally see our house from it. Where we live is hilly and this apartment is located on the opposite hill to ours. I went to the open house today too, and standing in the living room I could clearly see our house soon to be hers after she buys me out. I just pictured living there and having to avoid looking out my window because I would see our house and think of the AP now living there and them playing house. Sickens me to think about it. I could barely look at her when I got home. Thankfully she went away for the weekend so I get a bit of breathing room and time with my son. It's so unfair. I find a place that is perfect for me, but I can't live there because I will have a constant reminder of this whole situation right out my window. Will defeat the purpose of moving out to heal if I'm constantly reminded of the affair and knowing that if the car is in the driveway they are home and pretending to be one happy family. I'm thinking I'll withdraw my application. Found another apartment which is also pretty good and is nowhere near our house. Still good rent, good location as recommended by a few people I know, and I think I've got a shot of getting it. Just upset that even with things like this that mark the beginning of my freedom she is still able to taint it all. I just think of how she did this and how I don't think she can comprehend the pain. A while back she told me that she was sorry for what she did but did not regret it. I couldn't say anything because I didn't want to start a fight near my son, but I wanted to tell her to never say that again, as she was saying she didn't regret inflicting the biggest betrayal of my life. I truly wonder if she feels any true remorse for what she did. Not that it would help me, really, but it would at least prove that the person who I thought she was not a complete lie. I struggle to wrap my head around how someone could just do what she did without any regard for the fallout. For no regard for the impact it would have. And I guess it hurts to see how she continues to see him, putting on this facade like everything is normal. I barely talk to her, just about logistics with the separation, our son, and finances. It gets to me that even after all this she still tries to be friendly. She goes out of her way to try and do me favors like asking if I wanted her to bring me back anything from when she goes away this weekend. Not that I would want anything from her, especially from her weekend getaway with the AP, or suggesting a contest I should enter on Instagram so I can win something. When my son does something funny she tries to joke with me about it, and I find I can't really enjoy the moment because it means joking around with someone that has hurt me so much and is trying to sweep it all under the rug. I would like to tell her to just leave me alone, but know that right now for our son's sake it is best to keep things civil. Not much longer to go. I dunno. I am pretty sure that I am just at the end of my rope living in the same house as her. I am moving mountains to get out of here ASAP, but I know that for her she isn't in a rush because while I'm here she has my financial stability while having the AP to go have fun with. She gets the best of both worlds for a bit longer, but her time is coming. Pretty soon I'll just be paying her the child support that she is entitled to, and she can worry about being the main breadwinner in the house. She can have her happily ever after finally. If you got this far, thanks for reading. This should be a happy time for me, finally laying the foundation for my future. But it's being tainted and I don't like it one bit. Thanks again. Post-separation maintaining positive relationship with STBX for our son. Just wanted to see what the experiences are like for those of you here. Right now I'm going through separation with my STBX and will be moving into my own place soon, finally. Custody arrangements and all that jazz will be kicking in, so that will be something for us to get used to. My STBX has expressed that she would like for us to still occasionally do things with our son together, e.g. take him to the park, have meals together, etc. I'm of mixed feeling with this, particularly because she has decided to pursue a relationship with her AP. Now, don't get me wrong, I would not agree anytime soon to do anything that would involve the AP, but am of mixed feelings about her suggestion. Part of me wants to take at face value and assume that she is really just wanting to maintain some sort of family unit for our son. However, the cynical part of me thinks that she is looking to have cake. That she wants to find whatever way possible to keep me in her life. Anyway, I don't know how I feel about it. I think initially my main focus will be getting myself set up for me and my son in my own place, and maybe sometime in the near future I would entertain the idea of us doing things together, just the three of us. For context, since D-Day she has been very generous so far as what she has agreed to with the division of assets, and overall we ironically get along much better now than we did when we were together. She is the one that initiates conversations most of the time, as I only really talk to her about essential topics such as the separation of assets and our son. There are times when I think she maybe has come to terms in some form what she has lost, and what she did to me. For instance, she offered to come to my place to help me clean. And she bought cleaning products and other essentials that were on sale for me to have ready to go. She even volunteered to help offset the costs of buying furniture for my new apartment. But, the fact remains that she is still with the AP, so I try not to look into her behavior too much. I'll see how I go over the first few weeks of us actually following a custody schedule and getting used to the new reality. I know maintaining a positive relationship with my STBX will be of benefit to my son. If I could have my way I would never have to deal with her again, but alas, we have a kid. I was hoping to gauge how you guys manage the dynamic of trying to maintain some sort of positive relationship with the ex for the sake of the kids. I'm a bit cynical and question if she is really wanting this for our son. I can see the benefit while we are transitioning to this new way of life, trying to minimize the amount of change that he has to experience at once. But I can't shake the feeling that she is wanting any excuse to have me around. Cocktail of emotions. I have moved into my new place finally after a year of doing in-home separation. Today my son will spend his first overnight at my place and I am excited but a bit nervous, too. I know in the long run I'll be fine, but it's that in between time that is getting me anxious. I will try my best and know that is all I can do. My STBX, it would appear, is going to be making attempts to stay in touch. Yesterday she offered to bring me leftovers from dinner she was making, but I declined. She then asked if I wanted some leftovers from some dinner her mother had made, offering to bring it over, which I also declined. She then jokingly told me that I should get used to it because she will ask me in the future. It feels like the beginnings of her attempting to stay in my orbit. This was all through text. I don't initiate these contacts. I'm trying my best to keep as much distance as possible, while maintaining a positive communication channel for the sake of our son. She now gets her happily ever after with her 23-yo AP. She is 37. Last night thoughts came to my head about how they finally get their dream of living together. And it bugged me, and triggered me a bit. It was not pleasant when we were living together and she insisted on him being her life partner and maintained her relationship with him. I knew that if she went out for the night it was to be with him. As time went on it was a bit easier, but it still sucked in a way. Now I know that they are together pretty much all the time, and it just sickens me a bit. I know it is all a fantasy, and in all likelihood they won't make it past the summer, but still. I also find myself in a sick way missing her. It is to be expected, though, as having been with her for a third of my adult life makes it so that not having her around will take some getting used to. I guess I know all these things, but it doesn't make it easier to stop the emotions. I'm currently reading No More Mr. Nice Guy and am working towards not being the nice guy anymore. I know that me being a nice guy makes me feel guilty for promising myself that I will maintain limited contact. While she tries to message me about seemingly anything that she can, I will just keep it transactional and about our son and any other logistics that need to happen. Right now, I can't bring myself to tell her to leave me alone. I will feel out the next few days, weeks, and if it comes to it, I will probably politely ask for her to please give me some space. But let's see how it goes. Thanks for reading if you got this far. I'm a bit tired, having only 5 hours of sleep after I spent all day yesterday getting my place ready for my son to come tonight. Have to go to work now and know I'll be drained. Single dad life has kicked in and I am a bit anxious on everything that will now fall on my 50% of the time. But I know that the struggle will be worth it for him, when I see him all grown and succeeding in life. Improvise, adapt, and overcome, right? 1 year post D-Day, yes. It gets better. Hi all. I have been debating whether to post an update and ultimately decided to do so, as I know that seeing those update posts of others further on in their journey has been very helpful to me and my own. Some of you know my story, but for those who don't, D-Day was on January 1, 2018. I knew something was wrong as my wife was distant on our Christmas vacation but had no idea what was about to occur. I confronted her on New Year's Day and asked if there was something wrong. She told me she couldn't do this anymore and that she was done. I got her to admit that there was another person, but she wouldn't tell me who it was as it wasn't important. Curiosity got the better of me and I looked through her messages to find that she had an affair and was getting her ducks lined up to import her AP from another country and leave me. The following 12 months were easily the hardest of my life, and I say that as a military veteran. Due to a few reasons, we were living together while separated, all while she continued seeing the AP. I, thankfully, did my homework and learned early on that the last thing I should do was to try and beg and plead for her. This caught her by surprise, as I guess she was expecting me to do this. Instead, I focused on myself and my son. I started working out regularly, watching my diet, dressed better, and starting crafting my own life outside the marriage. I spent more time with friends, engaged in new activities, and overall just made an effort to make up for lost time. We had one major argument around February 2018, but after that we worked together to ensure that our son was looked after, and that he was impacted as little as possible by everything that happened. In November I finally got my own place and moved out fully by mid-December. I am definitely in a much better place now than where I was on D-Day and the months that followed. This community was instrumental in me getting to the right mind frame to get through the rough waters that lie ahead after D-Day. We will be filing for divorce over the next few weeks, and if the planets align I will be divorced by my birthday middle of this year. My STBX is still with the AP. They are living in what was our house, as I had no interest in staying in the home after it had been tainted. She messaged me on New Year's Eve to tell me how much she appreciates me and how I carried myself last year through the drama. She apologized for the pain she put me through and claims that she still loves me and probably should have made more of an effort to try and make our marriage work. She also acknowledged that she can tell I've put up a wall between us, but she accepts that it is likely my way of coping. A bit too late, frankly. I suspect that reality is hitting her now that her and her AP are living together finally, but I am truly done. I can't come back from what happened, and want nothing to do with her right now if it does not involve our son. For those who are just getting started on this journey, please understand that it is so true that it does get better. However, it takes work. You have to take time for yourself to rebuild. Spending time with friends, family, working on yourself, and forging your own identity outside the relationship is so crucial to you getting to a better place. They say that everyone changes with this experience, it's just a matter of whether it is for the better or worse. I spent a long time harboring hate in my heart, and focused too much on her and the AP. I am only now starting to truly focus on myself, and it is making all the difference. This year I am going to focus on myself and my son. I had a great start to the year going to Sri Lanka for a week to attend my friend's wedding. That week away was amazing, giving me some wonderful experiences while at the same time reminding me that I will be fine. Nothing like having to sorting out the logistics of an overseas trip to build up some confidence. I made sure to spend time with friends while there, but also took time to do things on my own. I am planning on doing a fair amount of travel moving forward, most likely solo for the most part. Am not dating yet as I feel that just having moved out I am only now going to start to truly heal, and need to truly get comfortable being my own company before I venture down that road. Again, thank you so much to everyone here that has taken the time to read my posts and provide advice. This community is so great, and if I had not found you guys I know that I would more than likely not be where I am today. To everyone going through this, I am sorry, and hope that this post gives you some hope in knowing that it can get better. Edit. A few people have asked, and yes, I did respond to her text. I thanked her for the message as I knew that on some level it took some courage to be that open with me. I acknowledge that the past year has been challenging, but we handled it as best we could for our son. She had talked in the message about how she cherished our time together and how I was a great husband and has nothing but good things to say about me, but I felt no inclination to engage in that sort of talk. It is possible that someday in a distant future I feel comfortable with having such a discussion as there were good moments in our marriage. But right now it serves no purpose for me, personally. Filed for divorce and now she wants to come back? So, I've filed for divorce today finally after just a bit over a year past D-Day. Filed online and after hitting the submit button I started shaking. Just surreal to know that it is finally happening. Anyway, fast forward and after sending my STBX a text to say that the divorce app is submitted we are filing jointly she proceeds to ask me if I am 100% sure that this is what I want. Just in case there is anything we should discuss before the point of no return is reached. For clarity, she is now living with the AP, having moved him in mere hours after a move to my own place. I have no intention of ever getting back with her after she betrayed me. Up to now she has given me no indication that she doesn't want to proceed with this, but now all of a sudden she is wanting to confirm that this is what I want? Oh hell no. I literally screamed, "You've gotta be effing kidding me?" when I read the message. I was livid. Many of you told me to brace myself for when she realized the grass wasn't greener, and would try to weasel her way back into my life. I knew that as much as I wanted for her to realize the mistake she made, I knew it would not make a lick of difference in the grand scheme of things. Right now I am in the same place I was when I woke up this morning, only now the prospect of some drama is at my doorstep. The court date is at the end of March for the hearing, and I am mentally preparing myself for what may happen between now and then if she is really regretting her decision. I am also preparing myself for the potential of her making me out like the bad guy because I initiated the filing. To be clear, she wanted the divorce so she could be with the AP. However, she admitted to me that if it wasn't for me initiating the process she wouldn't have the guts to do so. That was my first indication that she might not be fully committed to this. Then during the application process she was constantly dragging her feet. Now this. Fact is, I am giving her what she wanted, so there should be no issue. But I know that once the fog lifts, shit gets real for them. I was so happy that progress was made, even cracked a beer open to celebrate this milestone. Then that message from her. I told her that I was sure, and she seemed to go along with it. But I am cynical enough to know that this is probably not the last I hear about this. If I was vindictive I would figure out a way to send these messages to the AP. But I co-parent with her and do not want to cause any drama that will negatively impact my son. Let's see how this goes. But right now it looks like you guys were absolutely right. Divorce has been granted. Just wanted to post this as I know that reading people coming out of this situation gave me strength to persevere, so I hope that I can do the some of you in the thick of it. You can see my post history for the full story, but basically a little over a year ago I discovered that my now ex-37F had an affair with a kid 14 years her junior 23 meters and had decided that he was her life partner. Did in-home separation for a year, during which she continued to see him, and I got to work on myself to be a better man and father. December 2018 I got my own place and my ex bought me out, moving the AP into the house mere hours after. We got a custody schedule in place and have been co-parenting well since. In the weeks that followed I initiated divorce as she, from her own admission, did not know when she would have worked up the courage to do so. We filed jointly, and I chose the earliest hearing date available, which was today. When I told her the date she was shocked as she didn't think it would be so soon and proceeded to try and get me to have a talk before it was too late and asked if I was sure this is what I wanted. Told her it was what I wanted after barely avoiding losing it on her via text. Today I can finally just refer to her as my ex and not STVX. I am now single, divorced, and not separated. When I told her that it had been granted, she acted like she wasn't aware the hearing was today. For someone who should be counting the days to marry her schmoopy, she sure acts like it isn't a priority. Did I mention up to a few weeks ago she still had our family portrait up in the room she now shares with the AP? Yay, the AP has to look at my face every night before he goes to bed. This year has been one of a lot of tests of my character and growth, and I'm excited for what the future brings. Went on my first date last week and it went well. I don't want anything serious anytime soon, but it was good to spend time with someone and to know that they enjoyed my company. I'll be seeing the lady again this weekend. Just going to try and have fun now that I have a second chance at life. For those who are going through it now, it can and often does get better. I know you might read it a lot, but with time and distance it can get so much better. The bad days will become less frequent, you'll think about them and the affair much less frequently, and you'll be able to start your life over on your terms. This community is undoubtedly one of the principal, if not the principal reason that I've gotten this far, and I truly am thankful that a group of internet strangers have taken the time this past year to read my story, offer support and advice, and even listen to me when I spout my mouth, have something to share. This is a great community, and I thank you. Hope everyone is able to find something today to make it a good day. Thank you. It's like she can't see the irony. So last night my ex texts me to tell me about something relating to something my son did last night that was amusing, and then proceeds to talk about how she is saddened that we have to experience all this separately and rely on just telling each other these things. Then she said how she misses all of us being a family together. For context, she is living in our marital home with her AP. We share custody of our son. I saw the message and just had no words. I would like nothing more than to just remind her that this is the consequence of her actions. That she set us down this path when she betrayed me in our vows and then insisted on leaving for him. I didn't know what to say, so I didn't respond and wasn't sure I wanted to. She then proceeds to write another message asking if she said something to upset me. She writes the following: "Did I say something that bothered you? I think it's good and even healthy to talk openly. I know you have shut me off completely for a long time now, but to be honest, we never gave each other the opportunity to talk openly and honestly. In fact, I don't think I ever even expressed myself fully to you in terms of what was in my head and my heart at the time. You may think it's not important anymore, and that's fine too. Despite everything that's gone on, we are still the same people. I don't care what her heart and mind were going through when she decided to betray me. Those are excuses and her behavior is inexcusable. I can't play along with these musings she has about how she feels so sad about the way things are. I just responded saying that right now I need time and space for both of us to adjust to our new lives and reality. We've been doing really good at working together for our son, and that should be our focus. Not trying to litigate the past or reminisce about old times. I'm going to a therapy session tomorrow cause right now I'm a bit lost and this doesn't help. She wants so desperately to try to normalize everything and be a happy family again. Her actions have consequences and she needs to live with her bad life choices. I know some of you will say that I should just be upfront and just tell her as much. But I share a child with this woman and I want to keep the peace for his sake. I feel like a politician having to give PC answers to her. She tries to joke and offer favors, and I know that it's partly the guilt and partly her trying to make herself feel better. She still has our family portrait up in the room she now shares with the AP, for crying out loud. She backed a bad horse and is now regretting it. I get it. But this is our life and we have to move forward. I thought the divorce would usher a new chapter for me. But I feel like I'm being dragged down by someone who can't accept her role in this nor her new reality. Need support. The anger continues. Hey guys, feeling a bit of my old friend, anger. It's a bit like 2 steps forward and 1 step backwards. Our divorce was just finalized a few weeks back and I am now officially a free man, so to speak. However, as we have a son, I still have to tolerate her being a part of my life. We get along all right, up to now, maintaining a good co-parenting relationship that I think is of a benefit to our son. I practice limited contact, only contacting her if it relates to our son, and she follows suit for the most part, though I know she wishes I would be her friend despite it all. She is still with the AP, now 19 months into their relationship. I'm doing alright overall. Been dealing with more of the loneliness lately since I live on my own, and those times when I don't have my son around have gotten a bit quieter. I embrace it, though, and am working towards bettering myself and building a good relationship with myself. Went on a holiday last week and had an amazing time. At some point during the holiday I was reminded of how much happier my life is now that I am no longer married to her. And up until me landing back home I was on cloud 9. However, I have my son for a few days as my ex is on holiday with the AP. I still see him as the AP until the day they decide to get married, if that ever happens. I find that I get angry when they go away, and can't put my finger on why. I think it's possible that them going away is too much of a reminder of when they went away 2 years ago when all this started. The AP was a family friend, and I okayed my ex taking him out of town for some sightseeing. I mean, why would I ever think that my 36-year-old wife would spread her legs for some 22-year-old kid? Little did I know that as I was home watching our son, she was going around playing couple with this kid and spreading her legs for him. On the one hand, I am still frustrated with the absurdity of it. The AP is a child, basically, and she is still playing house with him. Could be because I have shot down her not so subtle attempts to see if I was interested in reconciling. I wouldn't care if not for the fact that this guy is around my son, and it still gets to me. It's crap that I can go from being so happy while away on vacation and truly feeling the freedom I know have, to coming back and feeling like this because of them. I am angry that she still has this emotional tether to me, despite all that I've done to get rid of it. I dunno, it's like a purgatory. I tell myself that she has screwed up her life and I need to just focus on me. That she is more than likely regretting her decision right now, but whether she keeps on with it or decides to end it shouldn't be my concern, as I don't want to be with her. That all I can control now is me and my half of parenting our son. But it's easier said than done when I am reminded of it all. It doesn't hurt as much as it did before, and the anger isn't around that much, but it's still there as nights like this prove. I wish I never had to see her again, but it is what it is. If you got this far, thanks for reading. I had to get this off my chest, cause it was eating at me a bit. As far as I've come in the last year and a bit, I still have so much to go. X is regretting her choices, it seems. TLDR, X is still with the AP but is messaging me to tell me that she wishes she had gone about things differently, and that she misses us being a family. Thinks she wants to hear me tell her that I want to fix things, but have no plans of taking her back. Saddens me that this will all have been for nothing. So she's still with the AP, and has been wanting to have a deep and meaningful foreclosure, I guess. The other day I said screw it and over text let her get it out. I knew that it was better for me to just let her get it out so it could be behind us. It started because this past Saturday we both were at an event and she was upset that I was so friendly to everyone but so cold to her. Did I mention that she had the AP with her at said event? Anyway, Sunday I get a text from her asking me if I couldn't stand to be around her, hated her, etc. I told her that I have no problem being around her as we share custody of our son, so I've long since grown accustomed to her being a presence in our lives. However, with the AP following her around like a lost puppy, I kept my distance, probably more so than I would have if he had not been there. She then goes on these long messages about how she wishes she had gone about things differently, that she was selfish with what she did, and all this stuff, basically telling me that she regrets the way she went about things. Thing is, I don't think she regrets it because of the pain she caused me. No, she regrets it because now she is stuck with her AP, who is 14 years her junior, and has to somehow decide if she will marry him before the end of the year or else his visa expires and he goes back home. I think she misses the stability that I provided, and now with the AP her future is uncertain, I think. She tried to insinuate that she wishes I had fought for her. I reminded her that I had offered to do whatever possible if there was any chance to save our marriage, and she looked at me like a wounded animal and told me no. Now she turns around and tries to say that, yes, she did reject my offer, but if it was her she wouldn't have left it at that. I just laughed, because this is a woman that early on referred to him as her life partner, imported him from another country, and continued seeing him. And somehow, with all this behavior that indicated otherwise, I was supposed to just fight for her. Nah, screw that, I'm good. Then, on the day that would have been our wedding anniversary, she has the nerve to message me to say ironically happy wedding anniversary with a sad emoji. I genuinely forgot it was even our anniversary, and made sure she knew. I know some of you will tell me to just tell her to leave me alone, but for now I just let her get it out and go through the canned response of telling her that we can't change the past and need to just focus on being good co-parents. There was a time when the thought of her doing this would have seemed poetic. I thought that when the fog lifted, and she saw the error of her ways, I would feel good to see her laying these breadcrumbs of her unhappiness and what surely is her trying to find a way to weasel her way back into my life. But I know that it doesn't change that this all happened, that I can never fully trust her, and that this was all for nothing if, as it appears, her relationship with the AP is not panning out as she had hoped. I kind of feel for her, as this is a person I cared for, and she has messed up her life so badly. If not for the fact that our son is in the picture, I would not care an iota, but with him in the picture I do my best to keep things amicable. Anyway, thanks for reading if you got this far. This was mainly for me to just get this out, as it is surreal that, though expected, I am witnessing the likely implosion of her relationship with the AP, which though makes me happy that this kid might finally be out of our lives soon, doesn't change the damage she has left in her wake. For those that are waiting for the ex to come back, especially if it is just to see them beg, know that it doesn't change anything. When it passes, you're left in the same exact situation as before. Only now you probably have an ex who is desperate to get you back for stability, and won't take a hint. 2 years later. So in 48 hours I'll be at D-Day plus 2 years. On New Year's Day 2018 I discovered that my then wife had an affair and was leaving me to be with the AP. Since then I've learned a lot about myself, and am in a position where I feel like I'm beginning to have more confidence than ever that I have a good future ahead of me if I stay the course. When I first started on this path I had no idea what would happen. All I knew was that my life was uncertain and I was shattered. Thankfully I had my son to be my reason for moving forward, and I don't know where I would be without him being a motivator for me to keep moving forward. My relationship with my son's mother is amicable. We work well together in making decisions and coordinating things for our son. She is still with the AP, and while that is something that I would rather not be the case, I don't concern myself with it as much as possible. I still have times when I am reminded of the affair, and the deception and humiliation and every other feeling that came with that. But then I divert my focus back to me and my son. I've struggled this year with finding and maintaining my reasons for improvement. Last year I lost weight and did a lot of improvement to spite my ex. I wanted to show her that she had me all wrong and what she lost out on. I quickly realized after moving out that without spite as a motivator I wasn't making as much progress as I wanted. Looking to attack 2020 with more focus on myself and becoming healthier and developing some good habits such as adequate sleep, meditation, reading more books, among other habits. While I haven't officially put myself in the dating market, I've been engaging more with meeting people, even some women. I ended a casual relationship with a woman that went on way longer than it should have. Pro tip: casual can only remain casual for so long before someone develops feelings. As soon as that seems to be the case, it might be time to re-evaluate what you're doing so no one is hurt more than they should. Also did some traveling this year. Sri Lanka for a friend's wedding and Vietnam with a friend from work. Next year going home for a bit to visit family in the States and planning on doing a week-long trip in the west coast of the States with a tour group. Looking forward to seeing what fun I can get up to in Vegas as a single guy as opposed to when I went with my ex years ago. Also traveled a bit interstate here, and made an effort to do activities solo. So, for instance, went to a salsa class out of town where I ended up meeting a woman who I have remained in contact with. Overall this past year has had its ups and downs. I had a therapy session a few weeks ago where we uncovered some things that I need to work on aside from the divorce and affair things. One thing the therapist told me was that I needed to remember to acknowledge how far I had come. I went into the sessions talking about all the work I felt I still needed to do. And the therapist helped me realize there was so much progress I had made this past year, and I needed to acknowledge that as well. I'll wrap things up by saying that this community is a major part of why I am where I am today. I have met IRL people going through this, and I am able to help them get through it not only because of my own experience, but because of this community and the help you gave me and others in this stuff. I am looking forward to taking what I've learned in 2019 and making 2020 a better year for me. This is the part where you'll usually have people say that it gets better. And in some ways, it does. But life is funny like that, and it figures out ways to challenge you regardless. This year brought challenges with my son that only got surmounted because my ex and I have maintained things amicably. I can't stress enough how important it is to try and maintain amicability if kids are in the picture. If we were at each other's throats, I don't know if my son would be in the better place he is today. And no, the challenges were not related to the affair. But they were challenges nonetheless. For those new to this club, I hope you'll take my story thus far as a sign that it is possible for things to trend upward after you're at your lowest. And for those who have been here for a while, I hope things are trending upward for you, and if not, that you are seeking any help needed to reverse the trend. This is a difficult time of the year, no doubt, and I am sending lots of good vibes to you all. 3 years to May. Hi friends. Just wanted to share an update on where I'm at 3 years into this journey. I remember in my early days being motivated, seeing that it was possible to move past this, and I hope that this post can give some of you hope that it is possible to get through this. You can go through my post history to see my journey thus far. But in a nutshell, found out on Jan 1, 2018 that my then wife had an affair and wanted to end our marriage. To say I was in a bad place is an understatement. Since then I've had many ups and downs, but overall I'm in a much better place than I was on D-Day and even prior, honestly. I'm a completely different man than I was back then, but I'm still a work in progress. Overall things are going well. My ex is still with the AP, arguably no longer the AP, as they've been together for 3 years. There was a time when I was hoping it would end, but honestly I don't concern myself with it anymore. Recently it dawned upon me that I've officially gotten to May, as Chump Lady calls it. I am by no means best friends with my ex, or even friends for that matter. We are co-parents and do our best to maintain a positive relationship for the benefit of our son. I don't talk to the AP, at best I will say hi to him if he answers the door when I go to pick my son up, but that's the extent of it. Every now and again I have moments where I remember what happened, but the anger has largely subsided. I have enough time and space away from it all to have developed a life of my own, and feel no need or desire to maintain any negative feelings for them. Recently I've been going through a bit of a self-discovery journey. I made the mistake of getting involved with new women not too long after my marriage ended. While I have yet to date anyone seriously, I have been involved with a few women in a casual sense. This, I feel, was a mistake, as I didn't truly take the time to learn to love myself and figure out who I want to be and how I would go about doing that. Don't get me wrong, I have done it to a certain extent. However, I recently ended a casual relationship which has hit me hard. After this I dated a bit for the first time and subsequently realized that I was seeking validation, acceptance, connection from these women that I wasn't manifesting within myself. I have started the new year focused on truly learning about myself, how I approach relationships, and how I can become a better version of myself. I am working to get to the point where I am enough for me, and therefore will approach my relationships from a place of abundance and not neediness. I will leave you with a few things that I feel are good lessons I've learned on this journey, that will hopefully be of help to those of you currently in the middle of it all. Time heals, but only if you put in the work. Yes, time heals all wounds, but that doesn't mean you can just sit idly by and expect everything to just be okay. You have to do some work on your part. I have spent a lot of time writing journal entries, talking to therapists, watching videos and reading books to figure out how I could learn from this experience and move forward. You need to be deliberate about your healing process. Note the word process in that statement. This is a process, and it will take time. It isn't linear, so don't get discouraged if you have a streak where you are good, and then you are in a slump. The key is to gradually have more good days between the bad days. Don't live your life for the external for too long. I hope that my ex's relationship with the AP would implode, and that she would come begging for me to take her back. I worked out and dressed better in order to show her what she lost in the end, This led to me doing things for her and not for me. And it's no surprise that I struggled to maintain the positive change I was making for a while. You need to make positive change in your life, for you don't worry about whether your ex will regret what they did. Don't worry about whether or not they will come back. Focus on you. And that is when good things will happen for you. Learn to love yourself. This is a big one, and something I'm still working on. It's so easy to take this experience and think that you did something wrong, to think that you aren't good enough to be loved. Stop that talk. You are worthy of love, but you have to begin by loving yourself. Learn to be in your own company, and don't be afraid to spend time with yourself. When you don't love yourself, you invite others to take advantage of that, and that is when you can fall into toxic relationships. Do not rush into a relationship. You'll hear many people tell you to take time to work on yourself and to not rush into a new relationship. There's a reason for this. After any relationship ends, you need to figure out who you are and who you want to be. This is your chance to craft a new life for yourself. This is made harder when you are involved with someone. It is a lesson I've had to learn the hard way. When you rush into something before you've healed, you make life complicated for everyone involved. Just take some time to yourself, and in the end you'll be in a much better place. Make sure you don't stay on or surviving infidelity forever. Hear me out. For a while I was on here almost daily, and it helped immensely with getting support and me being able to offer advice too, but I found that eventually I had to get off this sub. Getting reminded every day of infidelity, for me anyway, made it hard to truly start to move on. It was only when I took a break from the sub that I was able to really start healing. I still come here from time to time, but I found that coming here daily for me was doing more harm than good. Again, this is an amazing community with so much support and love, and I would not be where I am without it. But it gets to the point where you have to distance yourself from infidelity. So yay, 3 years. For those of you that were instrumental in my journey, again, thank you. This community is a major reason for how well I am doing these days. The support and love that I received from many of you was amazing, and I'll forever be grateful. For those of you getting started in your journey, it can get better. It really is a roller coaster of emotions. You will have good days and bad days, but it can get better. Notice I said it can, and not does. As I said before, your healing has to be deliberate, and it will take time and work. But it is possible. If you got this far, thanks for reading, and I wish you well on your journey as a member of the club. No one should ever have to join. Life after May 4 years post D-Day. Hi all. I guess it's become a bit of a tradition for me now around this time of year to post an update. Partly to hopefully give those of you in the middle of this hope that life can go on. But also for me to reflect on things. My post history has more details, but short of the long is that in early 2018 my then wife decided she no longer wanted to be married and wanted to live happily ever after with her AP. I went through a lot that first year. It was a pain I didn't know I could feel, and it would have well and truly broken me if not for the need to stay strong for my son. It took 3 years for me to get to what some call May. To get to the point where I don't care about what she does other than that she is a good mom to our son. And irrespective of what she did to me, I know that she is a great mother to our son. We aren't friends, but we work together to co-parent effectively. There were many who gave the advice of getting revenge against her and the AP. At the time I may have briefly considered it, but I know I would have regretted it since my son has medical conditions that require my ex and I to work together for him to thrive. If I had gone down the petty route, my son likely would have suffered and wouldn't be thriving as he is today. My ex and the AP are still together. I don't know nor care about whether or not they are happy. All I care about is that my son is happy, and he is. I don't talk to the AP other than saying hi to each other if we see each other in pickups and drop-offs. My ex and I only talk about our son and don't engage in any talk about anything else. She tries sometimes to be friendly, but I don't engage. It just isn't something I want or need from her. The anger has well and truly subsided. I rarely ever think about what happened, but sometimes I go back to that place and feel the anger when I think of what she did. But in a minute or two it goes away. I don't think I'll ever truly forget about what she did, nor do I think I will ever not feel some sort of anger towards her on some level. But it doesn't control my life anymore. I might think about it once every few months, but otherwise I live my life. I've been dating this past year, but unfortunately have yet to meet anyone with which I well and truly feel a close connection. Dating is hard, and I don't recommend getting into it until you've had some time to process what has happened. I've struggled with doubts about the person's intentions and why they're being so good to me when I don't feel deserving. Infidelity really tears apart your self-esteem, and it's something that I've had to confront to have a fair chance at dating. You are good enough, and when someone wants to show you that you matter to them, let them. I didn't really have a plan for this post, it was mainly a way of me getting some things out. This year I'm looking to keep working on me. Getting in better health, taking up some good habits, and being a better dad. I've gotten to the point where the betrayal no longer defines me or gets in the way of me living my life. Now I am the only one that gets in the way of me living my life. In some ways I'm in a much better place than 4 years ago, but now that I'm past it all I need to be more deliberate about building the life I want. I'll close this off by just saying to anyone going through this that you can get through this. There will be good days and bad days. Eventually you get to the point where the bad days have more good days in between. And one day, you get to May. But it doesn't happen on its own. You have to be intentional about recovering. Therapy is often necessary, but definitely a lot of self-reflection is mandatory, I feel, to really work through all this. My post last year has practical advice that I think is still valid. I hope this gives some of you the hope that it can get better. Sending good vibes to you all. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1, I have a long way to go to get to the May stage. Redditor 2, I hope to someday get to the May phase instead of where I'm at now, which JFC this sucks my life is in shambles phase. Best of luck to you. Op answer, hey brother. Saw your recent post and first am so sorry that you're going through this right now. It's early days for you, so this is probably the roughest that it's gonna be. But persevere for your kids and be the sane parent. Yes, she might be running around town trying to hook up or whatever, but I am willing to bet that she is doing all this to run away from the massive problems that await her. She knows she's on struggle street right now and she is craving any attention she can get to run away from it all. Hopefully she gets it out of her system and gets her head on straight for the sake of your children. But you don't have control over that. You just focus on being a good dad and looking after yourself. Head over to our single dads for support if you ever need it. And feel free to message me. Sending you good vibes, my friend. Redditor 3, did you have fear about the future? How long did that take to subside? I'm in the middle of a divorce now and I'm a bit terrified about the future. I'm on my own for probably the first time in my life, and my support network of my side of family are over 1,000 miles away. It's all very scary. Op answer, it's a scary feeling to not know what the future will hold. I think for me that feeling went away once custody was sorted and she had paid me out. After that I knew I'd be fine. In a lot of ways I surprised myself with how I was able to move forward by myself. I'm like you, my family are all overseas, so I had to rely on friends, but for the most part I have had to fend for myself. Have you spoken to a lawyer yet? Knowledge is power, so make sure you've got all the necessary information in relation to your situation. I know I'm privileged to have the outcome I did, as many men get out through the ringer. Just make sure you look after yourself, and that starts by making sure you know your options and responsibilities from a legal standpoint. Stay strong, and take it one day at a time, brother. And focus on what you can control and not worrying about what's gonna happen. Be measured, take action, and no matter what, keep moving forward. You've got this. Redditor 4, glad you took the better road of no revenge. Read your early posts and it sounds like your marriage was over when the AP came into the picture. But even if it's over, it's hard being the one left behind and the other person making the final decision. I know most on this sub will disagree, but I think taking responsibility for your side of your marriage, failing porn addiction so distant and unavailable to her, and the other things you wrote will help you fully move on. Not saying this to put the blame at your feet. You just seem to be at a place where you are having a hard time trusting the women you date. I think part of that is because at this point you have yourself convinced that what happened is your wife out of the blue chose to cheat and leave you. But, if you take responsibility for your side of the demise of your marriage, then ye can see that it wasn't a random act. You contributed to her wanting out and being available to advances by the other guy. So, by it not being out of the blue something unforeseen, but in fact something easily foreseen, then you can work on your stuff and then have a much higher likelihood that the same stuff won't happen again in the future. Is it a guarantee? No. You can eat healthy, exercise, not smoke or drink and still get cancer, but the likelihood goes down dramatically if you are doing the right things. Again, I'm not saying this for her benefit or the AP's, but 100% for yours. To fully heal and be able to have a trusting full relationship again, you will need to take full account of your side of the equation so that you can feel you have control in your future relationships, and not feel like your victimization was random and unforeseen. Answer: thanks for the response. I agree that taking responsibility for one's part in things is important. But I don't think that's at play here. I've been through a bit of therapy, and have done a lot of self-reflection, and have acknowledged and accepted my part in the breakdown of the marriage. The things I've got left to deal with are within me. They stem from the affair, but they are also to do with parts of me that were influenced way before I even met my ex-wife. But I'm working on it, and I don't believe the breakdown of the marriage was unforeseen. We were both mainly staying together for our son, but in the end she decided to go along with an impulse and do what she did. The marriage was over way before the affair happened. We were both just too chicken to call it and move on with our lives. In a way she did me a favor because her infidelity forced us to get out of a bad marriage. Ultimately, we were both a horrible match, and are going to be better off not being married. Again, I appreciate your input, but in this case I'm well past acknowledging my part in things. Whatever is left, though, in some ways being a part of the baggage from the affair, is also to do with my own self-esteem and other issues that are a result of events and decisions that go way back to when I was a kid. I'm no longer a victim, though. What happened to me up until now might not be my fault, but I accept my responsibility for working on it. Redditor 5, hey man, good to hear about you. Hope to hear about your next year. Redditor 6, I hope you meet the woman of your dreams. I hope your ex goes crazy. I hope her AP tells her that your new woman is hotter than her. I hope your kid falls in love with the new woman and tells mom he is moving in with you. Hope OM has an affair on her and drops your ex. Karma.
Thank you for watching. Comment what do you think about this situation. Don't forget to like and subscribe.